Hi, I'm Summer Myatt with Executive Mosaic. Today I'm here at the 2024 Baird Defense and Government Conference. I'm here with Jennifer Ewbank, former CIA Deputy Director for Digital Innovation. Jennifer, thank you for joining us.
It's great to see you again, Summer. It's been a while. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to talk to you today.
Me too. So speaking of that, the last time we talked, you spoke a lot about our nation's adversaries and how they're using digital technologies against us. Can you talk about how we're kind of tackling that threat?
It's such a good question, and maybe my frame of reference has changed. So since we last spoke, I've retired from government. I'm now working in industry on a number of boards and doing some consulting work and a little bit of public speaking. So I do look at it just a little bit differently. And one of the things that I think has changed the most has been both this, let's say, this democratization of capabilities. So it's no longer just nation-state actors who have the most sophisticated capabilities that are threatening us, right? That threatening government, threatening industry. It's also a lot of criminal actors as well. And there are moments when you can't even kind of tease apart who's the criminal actor, who's the government entity, who is driving what action. I think that's been a really interesting and challenging development in the last year or two. And I think the good news there is that much like all across digital tech landscape, right? It's really encouraging this closer partnership between private sector partners and government, who at this point I think really need each other to succeed in this landscape.
Mm-hmm. That was definitely a theme that your panelists spoke about a lot in the session that you just gave. So kind of shifting to the tech question, what are the emerging technologies we really need to be focusing on right now in order to leap ahead of those competitors?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's one that I think gets lost in the day-to-day discussions about digital tech and what are the newest capabilities and what does government need, and all that's really important, but I do try to keep an eye on what's out there on the horizon that's really going to change, kind of from a geostrategic perspective, the world, honestly. And so there are a couple that I do think about a lot. I think a lot about research in quantum computing and the eventual discovery or creation of a capability that really is cryptographically relevant, that can be done at scale. That is both a tremendous opportunity for the country that gets that capability first, or a tremendous threat for those who do not, or challenge, let's put it that way, because it depends on who has it first. It's one of those races that I think we have to win for our national security. I think it also offers tremendous economic opportunities for economic prosperity. It's good for the country in lots of different ways, but really necessary for our national security. And then the second one, and there's a lot of debate and discussion out there, but really the eventual rise of artificial general intelligence. So, we talk a lot about AI. We were just talking about that at the panel today. But these are, they're fantastic systems, but they're largely pretty narrow. They're applied to a narrow problem set, if you will. But if you think about AGI as applying almost human-level reasoning against kind of multiple domains simultaneously, all sorts of amazing things become possible. And I firmly believe that the country who reaches AGI first will have a once-in-a-lifetime strategic advantage. And I think that has to be the United States, maybe in partnership with our democratic allies. One piece, I'm sorry to go on at length, Summer, but it's something I'm really passionate about because working with a lot of partners in industry, we talk a lot about AI. The piece that is not always discussed in this competitive race for who's going to have the most capable systems, who's going to transform the landscape of AI with the discovery or the creation of AGI. The piece that's forgotten is that there is kind of a competition of values and influence as well. We've got this kind of growing block of digital authoritarian governments out there, led by the People's Republic of China, our most capable adversary in the digital landscape and across every other domain. And we have on the other side, let's say, a loose alliance of countries devoted to democratic values who view AI and tech innovation as tools to uplift humanity, to build economic prosperity, all these other things. And And AGI is going to have a real impact on kind of the future of, this is going to sound a little bit hyperbolic, but the future of freedom, in a sense. Just imagine, you think back, if an authoritarian adversary had developed the internet, what would that look like today? It wouldn't look anything like what we have. It wouldn't look anything like really one of the most transformative things for human knowledge sharing and creativity and innovation. Like, it would look nothing at all like this. And if you just think about what AGI would look like if it is developed and controlled by an autocratic regime, that worries me.
This term is interesting to me, AGI.
Yeah.
I have not heard that used as widely as AI. Can you explain maybe some of the differences? What makes AGI unique?
I'm gonna explain it in very simplistic terms, because that's I reduce everything down to the simplest terms. And to be fair, I'll acknowledge there's a lot of debate out there. There are amazing leaders in technology who think, okay, maybe it won't happen. Maybe we'll never get there. Others who think we should be much more cautious about pursuing this because it could pose tremendous threats and risks. The kind of dark humor way of looking at this is, do we have robot overlords or not, right? And so I, however, am pretty optimistic. I think we solve technical challenges along the way. But the main differentiator that I think about is taking artificial intelligence, being able to apply these advanced capabilities across multiple domains simultaneously. And so think about medical innovation, right? So today we have AI systems that can help analyze, heart scans, right? And it does amazing work. So that partnered with an amazing physician, and you get tremendous results. It's more accurate. People are getting care today that otherwise would have been missed through traditional diagnostic methods. And so it's saving lives. That's amazing. You can see similar things in all kinds of imagery as well, medical imagery. But think about the future, right? So AGI could help as a diagnostic tool, but all of a sudden, what you can do is you can combine insights in biology, chemistry, medical ethics to start offering up, novel treatment options that today are either kind of opaque to us because we can't integrate all that data in the same way. It might offer up new and different pathways to, curing diseases. There's a lot of opportunity there. And likewise in the national security space, so think about a system where you could take all this, these huge volumes of data, and all of a sudden, by blending together kind of, let's say, random things, trade data, economic data, political insights, sociological insights, you can combine all that together in theory to actually anticipate, crises before they erupt. And the interesting thing, offering kind of unique, thought-provoking response options for human experts to play with. So AGI, in my view, is going to be transformative. It can do tremendous, it will, when it comes eventually, I think, do tremendous good. There are a lot of great things that can happen. We could solve world hunger, come up with new ways to develop sustainable energy. There are all sorts of things you could do. But the threat piece is really critical as well. Both having it in the hands of an aggressive adversary, that's something we really have to focus on, but also ensuring that these systems reflect human values. So our ethics, our values, I think that's really, really important. And that is a technical challenge that's being tackled kind of step by step as researchers seek to develop AGI.
Thank you for explaining that.
Well, it's not the best explanation, and to all the technical experts who are out there, I apologize for, bastardizing your amazing work.
Oh no, that was wonderful. So I want to ask you about intelligence innovations that are exciting to you right now. What are kind of some of the advancements you're seeing across the IC or even in commercial industry?
Yeah, it's almost becoming, the standard response these days. We kind of hinted at it at our panel earlier this morning. It's the theme, AI. And what I see is AI's applications to empower the intelligence mission in ways that A, we really, really need, and B, can really transform the mission. And when I was still in government, I had this vision I mean, that's a grandiose phrase, this idea, this image of an AI-powered intelligence service for the future. And people maybe didn't take me literally, but I truly believe this. I think getting AI right in the intelligence community is almost an existential issue. We have to be able to leverage the power of, the analytics that can come by using AI tools on all the data streams that we can acquire. It's so hard right now. It is increasingly difficult to collect real secrets, to do so and remain unseen, undetected, whether that's in the human intelligence field or signals intelligence or technical intelligence of other kinds. So something we spoke about at the panel, the open source world, like we should be absolutely living what we've been saying for years, where open source intelligence or OSINT is the int of first resort. And that has to provide this amazing foundation of knowledge and context. B, it will narrow the range of things that require truly exquisite and potentially high-risk capabilities to collect. And it's going to help us integrate data across all the various kind of, let's say, classification fabrics, missions. That is really hard to do with humans. And being able to partner with machines to help us do that, I think that's one of the most exciting things that is coming now. It's happening now in the intelligence community.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of pull on that OSINT thread as well.
Yeah.
That was obviously a major theme in the panel session you led. How is OSINT changing the intelligence landscape, and what do you see for future uses of OSINT, or the future of how OSINT can change intelligence?
No, it's really a great question, and it is timely, not just because we had the panel, but because it's just on so many minds these days. It's really on the radar as a tremendous capability. And so we talked about it in different ways this morning. So think about the cyber threat intelligence area. Open source collection is tremendously powerful to give, companies and government agencies and departments insights into what's happening out there in the environment. I think, going back to what I said a moment ago about how the classified, the sensitive intelligence mission is becoming harder and harder in this world, in a way, that's just pushing kind of organically, maybe pulling people organically in the community toward open source intelligence as a tremendous, tremendous tool and capability. And it's no longer something that's separate and apart. I spent years and years of my career while I was working overseas, mostly in the operational world, starting my day with what was open source intelligence at the time, which was in essence kind of a newsletter that had been pulled together by subject matter experts who were monitoring television, radio, other print media around the world, and then pulling together summaries, and that's kind of how I'd start the day. But that's not the world we live in anymore. The world we live in is pulling that collection at scale through kind of AI-powered automated workflows, resulting in massive amounts of data, obviously. And then we're using kind of really cool AI capabilities and large language models to make sense of all that data. So all of a sudden, what was potentially a tsunami of information, right? The good news, we collected a lot more than we ever had. The bad news is how do you make sense of it all, right? But all of a sudden, now you can actually extract insights from it all. So for me, open source is just a tremendous area of opportunity. I'll be candid about one thing though, and that is that there are moments when the Intel community is going to not struggle. I wouldn't say, I was about to say struggle, but that's too harsh. Where they're really going to grapple with how to best partner with commercial open source intelligence providers. Because depending on the company and the capability, are they offering finished insights, or is it data and analytics? And so for an organization like the CIA, it can actually, it's counterintuitive, but it can be challenging at moments to partner with a company to get finished insight, or what they might call analysis. That can be challenging because one of the fundamental principles behind all of the analytic products that we produce for the president and other policymakers is that you have to be able to validate every single insight and data point. You have to know where it all comes from. You have to understand the sourcing, you have to understand kind of the context, and that can be challenging if it's, okay, let's take this finished insight from an open source intelligence provider and then build upon that. That can be really challenging. So I think there's a period here where we're probably working through that, gathering data and analytics is much easier in that respect. And then there's a whole range of, let's say, players in the intelligence community and in the broader US government where their needs are going to be very different. So not every organization is going to have that same analytic tradecraft requirement that we do at the CIA. Others may welcome and actually value and really get tremendous impact from those finished insights. So from a business perspective, I think companies would do really, really well to think about how that market might be segmented. What kind of products are great for others in industry? What are great for government agencies and departments that perhaps aren't seeking the same level of analytic tradecraft, not the level, but they have different requirements for the information. And then that small subset of intelligence community partners that are really going to be putting a critical eye on every data point. You've kind of got three segments, if you will, that are, I don't know, it's a useful framework, I think, for companies to look at.
Awesome. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for your insights and for your time today.
No, it's been wonderful to see you again, Summer. Thank you.